The University of Portland men's cross-country team made history at the NCAA Championships as the Pilots landed on the podium for the program's best finish ever. And it's the eve of the PK80 Hoops Tournament, which is being called the greatest collegiate basketball tourney this side of March Madness. These stories and more coming up next on Portside with the Pilots.
Portland Pilots are the 2016 West Coast Conference champions.
Welcome to another edition of Portside of the Pilots. I'm your host, Adam Lindman. The University of Portland men's cross-country program has a decorated history, and at last weekend's NCAA championships in Louisville, they added another chapter with a podium finish. With All-American performances from Emmanuel Rudolph Levis, Jeff Thies, and Nick Hogger, the Pilots placed second overall, which is the best finish at Nationals ever for the team and head coach Rob Connor. Portland entered the race ranked number 4, but trailed only national champion Northern Arizona at the finish line. The Pilots also placed just ahead of conference rival BYU. It was the 18th team appearance overall for the Pilots at the national meet, and the team's previous best was a third-place showing in 2014.
This is for Rob. He's given every guy on this line, an opportunity that we might not have gotten had not been for him. He believed in all of us before anyone else did, even before we believed in ourselves. And so being able to give this back to him is huge, and it's all we could ever ask for is to repay him for the opportunities he's given us with this second place finish. Has been fantastic.
I saw the score and we were down by 5 points with 2K to go. So I ran out as far as I could and got them at about 500 meters to go, and I'm screaming at every guy, we're down by 5, we're 5 points out of second. And every single guy brought it home so strong to widen that margin between second and third. It was a phenomenal effort.
Also competing in nationals was Portland junior Taryn Rawlings from the women's team. A native of Wilsonville, Oregon, Rawlings earned her place individually at nationals by placing 14th at the NCAA West Regional, and she just missed a top 50 finish in Louisville, coming in 51st. Rawlings finished strong on the wet and windy course as she passed 34 runners in the final 1,000 kilometers.
As much as I would have loved to crack that top 40, I am happy with just the improvement from last year and being able to improve upon my place from last year this much, and just kind of being able to finish my season off better than it started.
She got out well. She struggled a little bit in the middle and lost some ground and was about 84th, 85th with 1 kilometer to go, and passed over 30 women in the last kilometer to get 51st.
We'll have much more from Louisville later in the show, but meanwhile, back on the bluff, the men's basketball team won its second straight game, defeating Oregon Tech 89-59 Sunday night at the Chow Center. Sophomore Josh McSwiggan led the Pilots with 16 points, and senior center Philip Hartwich had another big game down low, collecting 8 rebounds while also blocking 4 shots. Hartwich is making the most of his senior season as he's already registered career highs in points and rebounds, and he has a pair of double-doubles. The native of Germany currently leads the West Coast Conference in rebounds, blocks, and field goal percentage. The Portland women headed on the road for the first time this season, where UC Irvine held off the Pilots on Friday night to win 63-52. Senior guard Rochelle Owen scored a team-high 12 points. At 3-1, the Pilots are off to their best start since opening 4-0 in 2010. The Pilots feature a balanced offensive attack with 5 players averaging 7 points or more. Junior Julie Spencer is tops on the team in both scoring and rebounds, and Portland is the top defensive team in the West Coast Conference, holding their opponents to less than 57 points per game. The volleyball team concluded the regular season with a 3-game West Coast Conference road trip. On Thursday, the Pilots completed the season sweep of St. Mary's before succumbing to Pacific and Gonzaga, with the match in Spokane going 5 sets. The Pilots are now hoping for a postseason bid into the inaugural NIVC tournament, which will announce its field on Sunday night. Coming up next, we take a look back at the men's cross-country team's historic season, which culminated with a second-place showing at Nationals. Portside at the Pilots continues on NBC Sports Northwest after the break. The men's cross-country team had one goal this year, a podium finish at Nationals. P2, or Podium 2, has been circled on the whiteboard in the coach's office since last spring, and last Saturday in Louisville, Kentucky, that goal was realized.
This will shape up the 2, 3, 4, the podium spots.
This is for, he believed in all of us before anyone else did, even before we believed in ourselves.
Greatest team in pilot history? Are you kidding me?
During the race, I go, do this for Coach. This is what he dedicates his life to. We did this for him and for each other.
They came in, they felt like they were underrated. They wanted to earn where they believed they could be, which they thought it could be the podium.
Okay, here's all I got, really. I got a couple things, not much. But what I want to reiterate is it's a mentality for success at this thing, okay? It's deciding ahead of time what you want to achieve. Okay, this is the one where we have a shot to do something special.
Tom Sawyer State Park for the 2017 Division I NCAA Cross Country Championship. So now we look ahead to the men's 10K championship. You see the conditions, the weather.
Quick email from Kinsella. Coach, wanted to wish you and the team all the best at tomorrow's meet. Great teams, level everyone up, and create a sense of accountability towards something much, much greater than any individual achievement.
It's shaping up to be a pretty good one here. That said, looking at the teams coming into this behind these top 4, you got the top 10 ranked coming in. Portland Pilots could surprise some people.
Sentimentality aside, I also hope the team absolutely crushes everyone tomorrow. Whatever pit of despair or apprehension in your stomach is your friend, not your enemy. Acknowledge it, laugh at it, and make it yours. Great crush forever. Kins.
And they are off for the 2017 Men's Division I Cross Country Championship here in Louisville. Portland has 3 right there. Furman's got a group of 3 as well. NAU leads right now by 32 points, 151 to Portland's 183. So Portland running really strong. Watch out for the purple of the Pilots. Portland's got 2 in that lead pack right now. So in really, really good position for the Pilots to get on that podium. Portland in second right now. They've been to the championships. This is their 18th time. They've proven themselves throughout the season, and really this is the time for them to show how good they are. I kind of look at them as the Syracuse of old, trying to prove doubters wrong and say, hey, we belong in the conversation with the schools that are in the hunt for this title.
I was a little nervous because they went second place at the first 2K split. At the 4K split, they're in third, and they were tied with CSU, and I'm like, oh geez, I hope we're not going backwards.
And we're getting some team scores in, and things are changing. NAU still in the lead, 91 points, but moving up into second. BYU at 135, Portland at 149 at the last split. BYU in second at 165, and on their heels, Portland at 169.
And I'm screaming at every guy. We're 5 points out of second, and every single guy brought it home so strong to widen that margin between second and third. It was a phenomenal effort.
And now the masses start coming in, and this will shape up the 2, 3, 4, the podium spots. There you go with Georgetown and Portland. So Portland's got 2, there's Portland's 3.
There's BYU's 1 with Casey Klinger. Portland has their 5 in, so Portland might have sneaked up into the second position. BYU now has their 5 in.
BYU 165 points. So Portland, BYU stayed about where they were. Portland moved up. As you see the unofficial scores on your board. Portland Pilots 128.
That concludes the first portion of our look back at the Cross Country National Championships, but stick around for part 2 from Louisville. You're watching Portside of the Pilots on NBC Sports Northwest. Welcome back. So the Pilots have just crossed the finish line in second place, marking the program's best finish ever at the NCAA Championships. And for the team and head coach Rob Connor, it was an accomplishment unlike any other.
And now the masses start coming in, and this will shape up the 2, 3, 4, the podium spots. There you go with Georgetown and Portland. So Portland's got 2, there's Portland's 3.
There's BYU's 1 with Casey Klinger. Portland has their 5 in, so Portland might have sneaked up into the second position. BYU now has their 5 in.
BYU 165 points. So Portland, BYU stayed about where they were. Portland moved up. As you see the unofficial scores on your board. Portland Pilots 128.
That was for these guys. We got Santa Claus here. How you doing? Good.
Greatest team in Pilot history? Are you kidding me? Didn't want to say that until after the fact.
This is for Rob. He's given every guy on this line, an opportunity that we might not have gotten had not been for him. He believed in all of us before anyone else did, even before we believed in ourselves. Being able to give this back to him is huge, and it's all we could ever ask for is to repay him, for the opportunities he's given us. With this second place finish has been fantastic.
This is the vision of Jeff Thies and Nick Hogger. Last spring we put up on the board in the office P2 and we circled it. They said, what's P2? And I said, Podium 2 Project, okay, P2. That was from last spring when we left school. The team was thinking podium this year. Nick Hogger, Jeff Thies have been tremendous leaders, and we wouldn't have been able to do this without their leadership.
We said they came in, they felt like they were underrated, they wanted to earn where they believed they could be, which they thought it could be the podium.
Coach, great job, man.
Wow.
Thanks for everything.
During the race, I go, do this for Coach. This is what he dedicates his life to. And he did this for us, and he brought me here and brought all of us here to do this. And so we did this for him and for each other. And I'm just so happy to have gotten to this program and be with RC. It's been awesome.
To not be at this meet 2 years ago, to lose most of the team last year, and then to come here and be runner-up in the country, I mean, that is a very, very impressive showing.
Keep in mind that Thies and Hogger were on the team that didn't go to nationals just a couple years ago. For them to believe in themselves and to understand the training and the elevation that they need to make in their training to get us here is phenomenal, really.
What's special about that Portland team is they graduated 6 of their top 7 from last year. They beat some great teams. They beat a very good BYU team and all the big Power 5 teams like Stanford, Arkansas, and Oregon.
Slayer sucks. Woo! Second.
I was hurting, but 5 spots could be tough. But I just thought, I'm not getting these 5 spots for me. I'm getting it for Jeff Thies, the 5th-year senior. I'm getting it for Matt Welts, the 5th-year senior.
The whole race, we were just looking for each other. We wanted to run together. I knew Manu, Jeff, and Nick, they were up there and they were running together and they were running for the team. And they were running for all the alumni and all the people back home cheering on. And Caleb and I, we were running together the last 2K, and he's the one that really got me through. Caleb pulled me through, and I was able to finish really strong, and he was able to finish strong, and we were all able to do that as a team together.
And I saw these white shorts and I was like, I need to do this for the fam. For the fam. Sorry, Minnesota, but this is my new fam right here. This is my new fam.
What can you say about Matty Ice? To come out, this is his only race of the season. It was an unbelievable effort. To have 3 weeks off, and then all of a sudden one day he says, hey, I think I can run. I said, all right, great. You're running nationals. That was 5 weeks ago. Okay, so in 5 weeks, he rebounded, and he started believing as well that he could do this.
He has ideas that are outside of the box, and I think that's what makes him such an incredible coach. And he chooses to gamble to win big, and he definitely gambled on me. Mentally, I might not have been ready if it wasn't for him and his belief in me and his belief in everybody. So I really do think that he's the best coach in the nation because of his creative thinking.
RC is the best coach there is, and he trusts in us like so well. Even though I couldn't do that myself, it's like everyone has a bad race sometimes, and it's just insane how we had like 6 guys running so well today, and getting second, it's amazing.
This is what we want to achieve. We want to come in here and just run our hearts out, and you know, we knew we could get top 3, but second was a nice little surprise, so we're very stoked on that.
It's a stair step for the history of our program. Ever since we won regionals in '93, we've had big goals, and this really has been on the backs of a lot of people, starting with Pete Julian and his vision for the team, Ian Soloff, Uli Steidl, clear up through, you know, our trophy team a couple years ago, Fabo and Perry, Reed. So those guys set the expectation, they set the goal, and they set the vision. And without that kind of student leadership, you know, it's not possible to do this.
I'm so hungry for much more. I just want to run well so bad next year, and I think we have a real shot at winning next year. So it's going to be all in. It's going to be all in again, and now we're just going for the title. That's what we're shooting for.
We have great things to achieve. It's a great team. I found a family here, so yeah, what's coming will be great.
Sky's the limit. We proved not only today what we've capitalized on from 3 years ago. We've moved up to second place. Next move is to try to win that thing next year. And I'm looking around, I'm already talking to these guys like, let's get it. Let's do this.
Go Pilots! UPXC is a family, and that's a pretty big family right there. So to see guys from 20 years ago here and excited and to get hundreds of texts, and it's a special thing.
Great to have everyone out here, you know, supporting us, and it was just a great feeling coming off the bus, following Matt carrying the trophy, and everyone screaming for us. It was really great.
Still sinking in a little bit every time I look at it. It's kind of like, wow, this is crazy. Like, we actually, you know, got second at nationals. You know, been working for this for a long time, and now it's finally here. It's, you know, it's a lot.
One of the biggest collegiate basketball tournaments ever tips off tomorrow morning, with the Pilots taking the floor at the Moda Center against 9th-ranked and defending national champion North Carolina at 11:30 a.m. The game can be seen live on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app, with Roxy Bernstein and Bill Walton calling the action. The PK80 features 2 loaded brackets with a total of 16 teams, and there will be 8 games a day on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at both the Moda Center and Memorial Coliseum. The tourney is in honor of Nike co-founder Phil Knight's 80th birthday, and in recognition of his significant contributions to collegiate basketball, they brought together what is considered the best collection of college basketball teams in one event at a single site in the history of the sport.
I feel like, you know, we're really ready for this game. We've been practicing very hard, and we spent a lot of, you know, time together working on our stuff. And I'm really confident, you know, for the game tomorrow. And I really feel like, you know, we're ready to kind of, you know, confront North Carolina.
Still not sunk in. It's kind of one of those surreal feelings that it'll probably hit once I get to the stage, sort of thing. It's one of those things you just got to be excited and proud to be a part of.
Team is ready. I mean, obviously we've been putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of preparation. North Carolina throws a lot of different things at you. We try to cover all those things. We still have a couple more days to prepare. We feel that they're going to have everything to prepare for North Carolina, know what they're going to come at us. Now it's just about how we execute those things.
Each team at the PK80 will be decked out in new threads, and black will be prominently featured on both the uniforms and shoes as a nod to Phil Knight, who is known for his all-black outfits and sunglasses. Portland's uniforms are of course purple, with these splashes of black on each side representing the wake of a pilot boat. Collectively, the 16 teams of the PK80 account for 391 tournament bids, 89 Final Four appearances, and 23 national championships. The Pilots will be holding a pregame party prior to each of their 3 games at the PK80. Starting an hour before tip-off, Pilot fans will be gathering at Dr. Jack's, which is located across the plaza outside the Moda Center. Friday's party will begin at 10:30 a.m. and be sure to check back on PortlandPilots.com for updated times on both Friday and Sunday. The women's team travels back to Southern California this weekend for a tilt with the Cal State Fullerton Titans on Saturday afternoon. Tip-off for the Pilots and Titans is set for 2 p.m., and Portland is looking to build upon its 3-1 start to the season. Next week, Portland returns to the Bluff to host crosstown rival Portland State Tuesday night at the Chow Center. That game is slated to begin at 7 o'clock, and it can be seen live on NBC Sports Northwest. That does it for this week's Portside of the Pilots, but be sure to give us any feedback, requests for content, or questions by using the hashtag Portside on social media. We'll see you next week.